Welcome back to Rare CoinX PRO, where we uncover the fascinating stories, history, and collecting importance hidden inside American coins. Every coin is more than just a piece of metal. It represents a specific moment in time, the craftsmanship of the mint, and the journey it takes from production to the hands of collectors. On this channel, we explore the background, design, condition, composition, collector demand, market value, and important tips that help collectors understand the true importance of each coin. Today, we are moving into the world of American dimes and exploring a coin from the 1960s that carries a unique place in United States coin history. So, let's begin our first coin. Today's featured coin is the 1966 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent, produced at the Philadelphia Mint and recognized by its absence of a mint mark. This coin belongs to the Roosevelt Dimes series, one of America's most recognizable modern coin designs. Released during a period of major changes in United States coin production, the 1966 Roosevelt Dime represents an important transition era and continues to attract collectors who appreciate its history and design. The Roosevelt Dime was first introduced in 1946, shortly after the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The coin was created to honor Roosevelt's leadership and his connection with important events in American history. He was especially remembered for his efforts during the Great Depression and World War II, as well as his support for the March of Dimes organization, which helped fight polio. The obverse of the 1966 Roosevelt Dime features the detailed portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. The design includes the inscriptions "Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust," and the date 1966. The portrait captures Roosevelt's recognizable appearance and continues the tradition of placing important American leaders on United States currency. The reverse side of the coin displays a powerful collection of national symbols. In the center is a torch representing liberty, surrounded by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. The inscriptions include United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime, completing a design that has remained one of the most respected in American coinage. The 1966 Roosevelt Dime was produced during a very important period for United States coins. In the mid-1960s, the nation experienced a shortage of silver, which led to a major change in coin composition. Beginning in 1965, Roosevelt dimes were no longer made with traditional silver and instead used a copper-nickel-clad composition. This makes the 1966 issue part of the early years of modern clad coin production. Because this coin was made at the Philadelphia Mint, it carries no mint mark. During this era, Philadelphia circulation coins were commonly produced without a letter identifying the mint. For collectors, this detail is important because the absence of a mint mark helps identify the coin and separate it from issues produced at other facilities. When examining a 1966 Roosevelt dime, condition is one of the most important factors collectors consider. Many examples spent years in circulation and show signs of everyday use. Common characteristics include surface marks, scratches, reduced shine, and wear on the highest areas of Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse design. Collectors looking for better examples search for coins with strong original surfaces and attractive appearance. A high-quality 1966 Roosevelt dime may display original mint luster, clear lettering, sharp details, and clean surfaces. Coins preserved in excellent condition are more desirable because they allow collectors to appreciate the craftsmanship of the United States Mint. The official specifications of the 1966 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent reflect the new clad composition introduced during this era. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and is made from a copper-nickel clad composition over a copper core. This change marked a new chapter in American coin production and separated modern dimes from earlier silver issues. Strike quality is another feature that collectors study carefully. Some examples have stronger impressions that create sharper details in Roosevelt's portrait and the torch design on the reverse. Coins with better strikes often attract more interest because they show clearer evidence of the minting process. Collector demand for the 1966 Roosevelt dime comes from several groups. Roosevelt dime collectors often search for complete date collections, while history-focused collectors appreciate this coin because it represents the early years of America's transition into modern clad coinage. Although common examples are easy to locate, higher quality specimens are more challenging to find. This coin also carries historical importance because it was produced during a period of change. The move away from silver changed the future of United States coinage, and the 1966 Roosevelt Dimes stands as an example of that transformation. Collectors who study American coins often find these transitional periods especially interesting. The market value of the 1966 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent depends mainly on condition, quality, and collector interest. A circulated example generally has a value of around $27,000 to $33,000. Better preserved uncirculated examples may sell between $39,000 and $47,000, while professionally graded coins with exceptional surfaces, strong strikes, and high mint state grades can reach $75,000, $290,000, $570,000 or more depending on certification and demand. Authentic mint errors or unusual varieties can carry additional premiums because collectors often seek coins with unique characteristics. For collectors who own this dime, proper preservation is very important. The coin should be stored in a protective holder and handled carefully to prevent scratches or damage. Cleaning or polishing should always be avoided because original surfaces are highly valued by collectors. A useful collecting tip is to learn how to compare quality between similar coins. Two 1966 Roosevelt dimes may have the same date and design but completely different levels of appeal depending on their surfaces, strike strength, and preservation. Careful observation helps collectors recognize better examples. The 1966 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent represents an important chapter in American coin history. It carries the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, reflects the beginning of the clad coin era, and preserves the craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint. While it was created as an everyday circulation coin, its historical connection and collector interest make it a fascinating piece for anyone who appreciates United States coinage. Now, let's continue with our second coin. Today's featured coin is the 1980 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent, produced at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin belongs to the modern era of American coinage and represents a time when the Roosevelt dime had already become a familiar part of everyday transactions across the United States. While millions of examples were released into circulation, collectors continue to search for coins with excellent preservation, strong details, and attractive mint quality. The Roosevelt Dimes series began in 1946, following the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The coin was created as a tribute to his leadership and his connection with the fight against polio through the March of Dimes organization. Since its introduction, the Roosevelt dime has remained one of the most recognizable United States coins and continues to attract collectors interested in modern American history. The obverse of the 1980 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent P features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. The design includes the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1980. The portrait captures Roosevelt's familiar appearance and continues the traditional design style that has represented the dime denomination for decades. The reverse side presents the symbolic design created by Chief Engraver John R. Sinek. In the center is a torch representing liberty, with an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength surrounding it. The inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime complete the reverse and give the coin its distinctive appearance. The Philadelphia Mint produced this issue, and collectors identify it as a Philadelphia coin. During this period, regular Philadelphia circulation coins were generally made without a visible mint mark. This detail is important when organizing Roosevelt dime collections because collectors often separate coins by their production facility and year. When examining a 1980 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent P, condition plays a major role in determining its collectible appeal. Since these coins were intended for everyday use, many examples show signs of circulation. Surface marks, small scratches, reduced shine, and wear on Roosevelt's portrait are common features found on circulated examples. Collectors searching for higher quality pieces look for coins with original mint characteristics. A premium 1980 Roosevelt dime may display bright luster, smooth surfaces, sharp lettering, and strong definition throughout the torch, olive branch, and oak branch details. These qualities make the coin more attractive because they show careful preservation after leaving the mint. The 1980 Roosevelt dime 10-cent follows the standard specifications of modern clad dimes. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and is made from a copper-nickel clad composition over a copper core. This durable construction allowed the dime to survive years of circulation while maintaining its familiar appearance. One important area collectors examine is strike quality. The strength of the strike can affect how clearly the design details appear. Some examples show sharper features in Roosevelt's hair, facial details, and the reverse symbols, while others may have softer impressions due to normal production differences. The year 1980 represents an interesting period because it was near the end of an era before many changes occurred in United States coin collecting. Traditional designs continued to dominate circulation, and coins like the Roosevelt dime remained a daily reminder of American history and craftsmanship. Collector demand for the 1980 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P mainly comes from enthusiasts who build complete Roosevelt dime collections. Many collectors search for every year and mint combination, making this coin an important part of a full set. Although common examples are widely available, coins with exceptional quality and strong visual appeal are more difficult to locate. Modern coin collectors often focus on condition rather than just age. The 1980 Roosevelt dime is a good example of this because its value depends heavily on preservation. A well-maintained coin with excellent surfaces can attract much more interest than a heavily circulated example of the same date. The market value of the 1980 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P depends on condition, strike quality, and collector demand. A circulated example generally has a value of around $6,000 to $10,000. Better preserved uncirculated examples may sell between $19,000 and $25,000, while professionally graded coins with exceptional surfaces, strong strikes, and high mint state grades can reach $120,000, $350,000, $740,000 or more depending on certification and market interest. Verified mint errors or special varieties may bring additional premiums because collectors often compete for unusual examples. For collectors who want to protect this coin, proper storage is essential. Keeping the dime in a protective holder, avoiding unnecessary handling, and protecting it from moisture and harsh environments can help maintain its original condition. Cleaning the coin should be avoided because natural surfaces are one of the most important qualities in collectible coins. A helpful strategy for collectors is learning to recognize the difference between average and premium examples. Looking closely at the details of Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse symbols can reveal differences in strike quality and preservation. These small observations help collectors build stronger and more attractive collections. The 1980 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P represents a continuation of a historic American coin series. It carries the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint, and the traditional design that has remained familiar for generations. While it was created as a common circulation coin, its place in the Roosevelt dime series makes it an interesting piece for collectors who appreciate United States coin history. Now, let's continue with our third coin. Today's featured coin is the 1981 Roosevelt dime 10-cent, struck at the Denver Mint and identified by the D Mint mark. This coin represents the beginning of a new decade while continuing the trusted design that Americans had carried in their pockets for more than 30 years. Although it was produced as a regular circulation coin, collectors continue to appreciate examples that show excellent condition, strong details, and attractive original surfaces. The Roosevelt dime series has a special connection to American history. First introduced in 1946, the design was created after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt as a tribute to his leadership and his support for the fight against polio. The coin also carries a connection to the March of Dimes organization, making it one of the few United States coins directly associated with a humanitarian cause. The obverse of the 1981 Roosevelt dime 10-cent D features the familiar portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Around the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1981. The design continues the classic style that collectors have recognized since the middle of the 20th century. The reverse side of the coin features the famous symbolic arrangement of a torch between an olive branch and an oak branch. The torch represents liberty, the olive branch represents peace, and the oak branch represents strength. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and 1 dime, creating a balanced and meaningful design. The Denver Mint produced this issue, and the small D mint mark identifies where the coin was created. Denver has been one of America's major coin-producing facilities for generations, supplying circulation coins throughout the country. For collectors, the mint mark provides important information about the origin of each coin and helps complete date and mint collections. When examining a 1981 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent D, collectors first look at the overall condition. Because these dimes were released for everyday use, many examples show signs of circulation such as contact marks, scratches, worn details, and reduced surface brightness. These features are common because the coin was designed for regular transactions rather than immediate collecting. Higher quality examples are much more appealing to collectors. A well-preserved 1981 Denver Roosevelt dime may display original mint luster, clean fields, sharp lettering, and strong details on both sides of the coin. The portrait of Roosevelt and the symbols on the reverse are important areas where collectors look for quality. The 1981 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent D follows the standard specifications of modern Roosevelt dimes. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and uses a copper-nickel-clad composition over a copper core. This construction allowed the dime to remain durable while keeping production costs practical for circulation. Strike quality is another important consideration. During the minting process, variations in dies and striking pressure can affect the sharpness of the finished coin. Some 1981 Denver dimes display clearer details in Roosevelt's hair, facial features, and the reverse torch design, making them more desirable among collectors. The early 1980s were an interesting period for American coinage because traditional designs continued while the hobby of coin collecting was becoming increasingly focused on quality and preservation. Collectors began paying closer attention to modern coins, especially examples that showed exceptional mint characteristics. Collector demand for the 1981 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent D mainly comes from Roosevelt dime enthusiasts who build complete collections. Many collectors search for every date and mint mark combination, making this Denver issue an important part of a complete Roosevelt dime set. While ordinary examples are common, premium quality coins require more careful searching. The market value of the 1981 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent D depends largely on condition, grade, and collector interest. A circulated example generally has a value of around $1,000 to $7,000. Better preserved uncirculated examples may sell between $13,000 and $20,000, while professionally graded coins with exceptional surfaces, strong strikes, and high mint state grades can reach $40,000, $90,000, $150,000 or more depending on certification and demand. Genuine mint errors or unusual varieties may bring additional premiums because they are harder to locate. Collectors who own this coin should focus on maintaining its original condition. Proper storage in a protective holder, careful handling, and avoiding direct contact with the surface can help preserve the coin. Cleaning should never be used because natural surfaces and original mint characteristics are highly valued by collectors. A useful collecting skill is learning how to identify small differences between coins. Even two examples with the same date and mint mark can have different levels of appeal because of changes in luster, strike strength, and surface quality. Careful examination helps collectors recognize stronger examples. The 1981 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent D represents an important continuation of one of America's most respected coin designs. It carries the history of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of the Denver Mint, and the legacy of a series that has remained popular for generations. For collectors who appreciate modern United States coins, this dime remains a meaningful and interesting addition. Now, let's continue with our fourth coin. Today's featured coin is the 1982 Roosevelt Dime 10-cent, struck at the Denver Mint and identified by the D mint mark. This coin comes from a fascinating period in United States coin production, when collectors were becoming increasingly interested in modern coins and the small details that separate ordinary circulation pieces from desirable collector examples. Although the 1982 Roosevelt dime was produced in large numbers, examples with excellent condition, strong strikes, and unusual characteristics continue to attract attention. The Roosevelt Dimes series holds a special place in American coin history. First introduced in 1946, this coin was created to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt was remembered for guiding the nation through some of its most challenging periods, including the Great Depression and World War II. His connection with the March of Dimes campaign, which helped fight polio, made him an especially meaningful figure to feature on a circulating coin. The 1982 Roosevelt Dime 5 cent continues the traditional design that millions of Americans had become familiar with. On the front of the coin, Roosevelt's portrait appears facing left, showing the detailed engraving created by the United States Mint. Around the portrait are the inscriptions Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1982. The design represents both American leadership and the artistic tradition of United States coinage. The reverse side of the coin features the well-known Roosevelt dime symbols. A central torch represents liberty, while the olive branch represents peace and the oak branch represents strength. Around these symbols are the inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime. The combination of these elements creates a design filled with national symbolism and historical meaning. The Denver Mint produced this issue, and the small D mint mark identifies its origin. The Denver facility has been producing United States coins for more than a century and has played a major role in supplying circulation coins throughout America. For collectors, identifying the mint mark is an important part of organizing a complete Roosevelt dime collection because coins from different facilities can have different levels of interest. The year 1982 is especially interesting for Roosevelt dime collectors because it was a period when certain production changes and collecting opportunities increased attention toward modern dimes. Collectors began examining these coins more carefully, looking for differences in quality, special characteristics, and examples that were preserved in exceptional condition. When evaluating a 1982 Roosevelt dime 10 cent D, condition is one of the most important factors. Many examples were used in everyday transactions and developed marks from contact with other coins. Common circulated pieces may show scratches, small surface imperfections, reduced luster, and wear on the highest areas of Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse design. Collectors searching for valuable examples usually focus on coins with superior preservation. A high-quality specimen may display original mint shine, smooth surfaces, strong lettering, and sharp details throughout the design. The quality of Roosevelt's hair, facial features, and the torch on the reverse can help determine how well the coin was produced and preserved. The composition of the 1982 Roosevelt dime 10 cent D follows the modern clad standard used for circulation dimes. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, and is made with a copper-nickel outer layer over a copper core. This composition replaced the older silver dimes and became the standard material for modern United States dimes. One important area that experienced collectors study is the strike quality of the coin. During production, some coins receive stronger impressions than others. A stronger strike can produce clearer details on Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse symbols. Coins with excellent definition often receive more attention because they better represent the craftsmanship of the minting process. Collector demand for the 1982 Roosevelt dime 10 cent D comes from several areas of the hobby. Roosevelt dime collectors who build complete date and mint collections search for this issue, while modern coin enthusiasts look for high-grade examples. Although millions of these coins were released, finding examples with exceptional surfaces and strong eye appeal can still be challenging. This coin also represents an important era in American collecting. During the 1980s, more collectors started focusing on modern coins, not just older rare pieces. The idea that a newer coin could become collectible because of condition, rarity, or special features became increasingly popular among hobbyists. The current market value of the 1982 Roosevelt dime 10 cent D depends on several factors, including condition, certification, strike quality, and collector demand. A normal circulated example generally has a value around $5,000 to $10,000. Better quality uncirculated examples may sell between $15,000 and $22,000. Professionally graded examples with exceptional preservation, strong strikes, and top mint state grades can reach $29,000, $40,000, $90,000 or higher depending on rarity, certification, and market competition. Coins with verified mint errors, unusual varieties, or exceptional characteristics can command much greater attention among collectors. For collectors who discover a 1982 Roosevelt dime, proper handling and storage are extremely important. The coin should be held only by its edges, stored in a protective holder, and kept away from moisture and harsh environments. Cleaning or polishing should be avoided because original surfaces are often one of the most valuable features of a collectible coin. A useful tip for collectors is to always examine coins carefully before deciding their value. Many people overlook modern coins because they are common, but careful inspection can reveal better quality examples. Using proper lighting and comparing different coins can help identify stronger strikes, cleaner surfaces, and coins with greater collector appeal. The 1982 Roosevelt dime 10-cent D represents more than just a 10-cent piece. It carries the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the history of the Denver Mint, and the continuing tradition of one of America's most collected modern coin series. Its place in the early 1980s makes it an interesting piece for collectors who enjoy studying the development. Now, let's continue with our fifth and final coin. Today's featured coin is the 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent, produced at the Philadelphia Mint. This coin represents the continuation of one of the most successful and recognizable dime designs in United States history. Although it was released as a regular circulation coin, collectors continue to study this issue because condition, strike quality, and preservation can create major differences between ordinary examples and more desirable collector pieces. The Roosevelt Dimes series has remained a permanent part of American coinage since 1946. It was introduced as a tribute to Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt played a major role during some of America's most difficult historical moments, including the Great Depression and World War II. His connection with the March of Dimes organization also gave this coin a special humanitarian connection that few other United States coins share. The 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P continues the traditional design that collectors have admired for decades. The obverse of the coin features the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. The engraving shows Roosevelt's recognizable facial features, while the surrounding inscriptions include Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date 1987. This classic portrait has become one of the longest-running designs in American circulation coin history. The reverse side displays the famous Roosevelt dime symbols created by chief engraver John R. Sinek. In the center is a torch representing liberty, positioned between an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch representing strength. The inscriptions United States of America, E pluribus unum, and one dime complete the design and give the coin its recognizable appearance. The Philadelphia Mint produced the 1987 Roosevelt dime, and like many Philadelphia circulation coins from this period, it was issued without a visible mint mark. This detail is important for collectors because mint identification plays a major role when organizing Roosevelt dime collections. Understanding where a coin was produced helps collectors build accurate date and mint collections. The late 1980s represented an interesting period in American coin collecting. Traditional designs were still dominating everyday currency, but collectors were becoming more interested in modern coins and their condition. The focus was shifting toward finding coins with exceptional preservation, strong strikes, and unusual characteristics rather than simply searching for old coins. When examining a 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P, the first thing collectors consider is condition. Because these coins were created for circulation, many examples show signs of use. Contact marks, small scratches, dull surfaces, and wear on the highest parts of the design are common among circulated examples. Collectors searching for premium examples look for coins that still maintain their original mint appearance. A high-quality 1987 Roosevelt dime may display bright original luster, smooth fields, clear lettering, and sharp design details. The quality of Roosevelt's portrait and the clarity of the torch, olive branch, and oak branch are important areas that can influence collector interest. The official specifications of the 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P follow the standard modern dime format. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition over a copper core. This durable material allowed the dime to survive years of circulation while maintaining the familiar appearance of United States currency. One of the most important factors for collectors is strike quality. During production at the Philadelphia Mint, differences in dies and striking pressure could create variations between individual coins. Some examples show stronger details, sharper lettering, and better overall definition. These differences can make certain coins more attractive to collectors. Collector demand for the 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P comes from enthusiasts who specialize in Roosevelt dime collections. Many collectors attempt to complete full sets containing every year and mint combination. While the 1987 issue is not considered rare in normal circulated condition, high-grade examples with excellent preservation can receive much more attention. Another reason collectors appreciate this coin is because it represents the everyday history of America during the late 1980s. Coins like this passed through millions of transactions, traveled through communities, and became part of daily life. Each surviving example carries a small connection to that period of American history. The current market value of the 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P depends on condition, quality, and collector demand. A circulated example generally has a value of around $3,000 to $9,000. Better preserved uncirculated examples may sell between $15,000 and $22,000. Professionally graded examples with outstanding surfaces, strong strikes, and top mint state grades can reach $29,000, $33,000, $40,000, or more depending on certification and market interest. Coins with verified mint errors, unusual varieties, or exceptional characteristics may command significantly higher attention because collectors often search for unique pieces. For collectors who find a 1987 Roosevelt dime, preservation is one of the most important steps. The coin should be stored in a protective holder to prevent scratches and environmental damage. Collectors should avoid cleaning the surface because original mint characteristics are often more valuable than an artificially polished appearance. A smart collector always examines every coin carefully before judging its importance. Even common coins can surprise collectors when they contain strong strikes, beautiful original surfaces, or unusual production characteristics. Studying coins under proper lighting and comparing examples is one of the best ways to improve collecting skills. The 1987 Roosevelt dime 10-cent P represents the lasting success of one of America's most respected coin designs. It carries the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint, and the history of a coin series that has remained familiar for generations. While millions were produced, every well-preserved example gives collectors another opportunity to appreciate American coin artistry. This brings us to the end of today's episode of Rare CoinX PRO. We hope you enjoyed discovering the history, design, condition, collector demand, and market value of these Roosevelt dimes. Remember, every coin has a story, and sometimes the smallest pieces of currency can reveal the most interesting parts of history. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Rare CoinX PRO, and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming coin discoveries. Thank you for watching Rare CoinX PRO. Keep searching.